Now it'll give me a little message. Excellent. Wonderful. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. For those of us who are joining live, those of you who are able to join us live, for those of you who are able to catch us on the recording a little bit later, welcome.
Welcome.
So we are here today. Today's really just to give a brief introduction um, to our series, to our live series, to us, and why we're doing this. So I guess first of all, it makes sense to start off with who we are. So I would like to start off with my esteemed co-host. Esteemed co-host, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Kemi Oki. I am the CEO of AQ Strategic Consults. I'm a coach, a facilitator, and a DEI activist. I have been in the DEI space for the past 4 or 5 years. I recently also became an IDI administrator, I'm sorry. And what I do mostly is I do a lot of webinars, trainings, DI initiatives and framework and strategic planning as well. It's nice to be here. I'm excited to give out all the tidbits that we have as a DI consultants.
Fantastic. And Kemi, what is the IDI for
The
folks who don't know?
IDI is an intercultural development assessment inventory, and what it does is it assess individuals as well as groups in understanding where their cultural dependency or awareness is and how they can mitigate or navigate around with the different cultures and dynamics as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I am Greta Lax. So, Greta Lax LLC. I am a coach, a consultant, and a facilitator that also focuses on DEI and intercultural development. My training background, like Kemi, is in industrial organizational psychology. I've spent well over the last decade, spending a lot of time working actually in community. One of my last positions was at the University of Akron in Ohio, where I probably spent about half of my time in community, working on with large collaboratives of organizations, particularly working on equity issues, including health equity, social determinants of health. So that only added a whole nother lens to the DEI work that I had been doing. My coaching particularly focuses on intercultural development for leaders and leadership teams. So, helping prepare leaders with that personal professional development that is going to help them be in a better place to play their role in implementing the work of equity and inclusion throughout their organizations, and then also consulting on DEI, particularly helping build strategy to help integrate it across the organization, and ensuring that that work aligns with your mission, your vision, and your goals as an organization. So that's a little bit about us. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Kemi, before we move on?
No, actually, you mentioned a lot. The DEI space gives us the opportunity to be able to help leaders and executives as well as human resources navigate the shores of DEI and also give a new perspective and lens to what it means to be diverse and also inclusive.
Absolutely, absolutely. So why this series? Why are we coming together to do this series here today? Well, as we've been talking, there's lots of news out there today. There's lots of negative news out there today around DEI, the role of DEI, and if you listen to the headlines, it's all going to crash and burn.
Correct.
And but for those of us that have been doing this for more than a minute, recognize that while there certainly are some significant challenges, that companies who are at the forefront are doing this because they recognize the full value of this work. So while there might be challenges in terms of the ways, certainly there is information out there about the ways that DEI is not effective, because just like anything else you apply, there are ways to do it well and ways to do it not so well.
Right.
So some of that is talking about some of the more ineffective ways that it's being introduced. And Kemi, that's part of how we came to this conversation, I think,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um,
We the series that we're about to embark on, basically, just like you said, Greta, is to go from the talking stage, basically from the training stage, to a point of actually implementing and doing the work, basically. Just like you said, there's a lot of information out there about what DI is, what it should be doing, how it works, but we fall short of understanding and actually implementing those ways. So this series is to give organizations, executive, HR, and even the members in the organizations ideas or innovative ideas that they can use to implement those platter of trainings that they've undergone, right? So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So moving from talk, from checking boxes, to actual to action steps and concrete action steps that people can walk away with. So, and I'm really excited about that. And I
yeah,
think it's such an important conversation in the midst of the, like I said, all of the kind of negativity, the politicization of the field,
right,
that has taken it away from what it's really here to do. Right,
right,
this work is really here to help ensure, um, first of all, certainly to ensure that equity and inclusion happens, but these are businesses we're working with, and this is work that's critical for helping businesses to achieve their vision, their mission, and their goals, and to do it well,
right.
to do it as well as possible.
Right.
And I think that that's missing from some of these conversations.
Yes, it is. I think the biggest thing, just like you mentioned, is navigating it. It becomes overwhelming when I have all this training, when organizations have all this training, but it's falling short of maximizing on those trainings. It becomes like being stuck in a rut and and not moving forward. So this will give them not just be able to achieve the goals and the vision, just like you mentioned, but also some type of belonging to it as well, right? So once you have it and you own it, it belongs, and then every member have that sense of belonging as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's no different than any other thing that you do training on. Just doing a single training or even a series of trainings without following up with a plan for how any of that is integrated into the day-to-day, integrated into your systems, integrated into policies and practices, just like anything else. Of course, that is highly unlikely to be effective alone,
Right.
which is not against training. Training is an important component, but it is just that it is a component of the larger picture of what we need to
Picture.
be doing in this work.
Because just like you said, DEI is a will on its own. It's a will that assists the organization's bottom line, which is being sustainable, which is being profitable. So it's a will, and training is just a little gear that pushes that will to keep churning. So it helps. It also, and another thing about implementation, that what it does is it also gives you a perspective of what you're lacking or what you need to be doing more or less of. Because once you start implementing the strategic plans that you have, it lets you see the bigger picture of what your company is, and also how it's being seen, the visibility that you're putting out there as well.
Yeah, I think that's so true. DEI had a lot of spaces, especially those who picked it up relatively recently, kind of, especially in reaction to, um, especially places who picked it up in reaction to the time, at the where the pandemic was happening, and the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and right. So folks who picked that up at the time, often saw this as a thing, like this separate aspect of the business. Whereas we know in order for this to be truly effective, DEI has to be a part of the overall strategy, has to be part of the overall efforts and integrated throughout the organization. And
Right.
so that's part of what we're hoping some of this conversation helps to turn around. So, not just that perception, but also helping people see the difference between the ways that it may be being implemented ineffectively in some places and how we can help move that
Right.
to helping organizations be more successful in reaching their goals.
True. And I do agree with that. I agree that DEI is not a separate entity. It affects not just the culture of the organization or the climate of the organization. It definitely affects retention as well. It affects the whole. I want to say DEI also works hand in hand with the heart of the organization. So because as we know, we're different people, different members, leadership members, HR, we all have different values, culture. So if we have a system in place that is helping to mitigate around those different melting pots, I want to say DI is more of like the almost another piece of the chamber of the heart, right, of an organization.
Oh, that's great. I hadn't. That's a great analogy. I haven't heard that. That's a good one. So yes, yes, it is absolutely a part of what organizations should be doing, just in order to function at their best, at their strongest.
Right.
Absolutely, I love that. That's a great example. That's a great example.
Thank you.
And so Kimmy, you talked about a couple of the ways and the areas. And some of the places where organizations are facing challenges that we hope to talk about in our series. So, for the series of lives that we have planned, so what we really want to talk about both is some of the specific challenges that organizations are facing today, talk about the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as intercultural development. Kimmy and I are both qualified administrators, and the intercultural development inventory is one of the tools that we use in our work, and the philosophy and the theory behind that. So talking a little bit about that, and then again moving towards providing some concrete actions that hopefully you can walk away with and take to the work that you're doing. So some of the topics that we have planned include talking about turnover and retention,
Right.
talking about recruitment and hiring, team cohesion and communications. Let's see, what else do we have? Engagement, right? Employee engagement and job satisfaction, because those
Right.
play such an important role um, in effectiveness, and then productivity and innovation overall. Am I missing anything? I
No,
think
I
that
think you
you're
you hit the meaty part of it. Yes.
Yeah, so really being able to talk about those challenges, and do it in light of maybe some of kind of today's news, right? So that we're putting it in the context of things that are happening today, talking
Exactly.
about what those challenges look like, and then talking about what some of the solutions are, so that you can actually bring those conversations back, bring those actions back to the work that you are already doing to help move in a more effective direction.
Yes, I truly believe that because just like you said, today's trend, news, events also affects. This is affecting individuals in their individual homes. It affects organizations too. So how we can mitigate or help bring a little, I'm not going to say solution to everything, but a little light to things that, like a buffer. I think, yes, this is what we're going to be doing this webinars. And any other questions or topics that you would like us to talk about in terms of DEI, we're open to that. And just to give more insights on how, not just training, but things we can do as people to help us move up along that continuum of inclusive.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, really today, that's what we wanted to do, is just kind of talk about our plan for the series. We'll be here every 2 weeks. Um, uh, so our next episode, our first full episode, will be on August 15th at this time. In the meantime, uh, where can you connect with us? So I'm most present on LinkedIn. I'm also have a presence on Facebook and Instagram, Greta Lax LLC. And for anybody who wants to have a chat, I have a link in my profiles or in my bio that you can set up a free 30-minute consultation anytime. I love brainstorming with folks. I love learning about the work that folks are doing in the world, and talk about ways that we can help address that. How about you, Kemi? How can folks find you in the meantime?
Yes, so I can be found just like Greta on LinkedIn. I have an LinkedIn presence as well, Facebook, and also I am on Instagram at the DEI Realtor. I also circle back as a realtor. I put a lot of content out in terms of tidbits about real estate as well as talk on DEI as well. I also have a link if you want to chat, ask questions, or just drop a topic that you feel that organizations might be interested in. You can also do that on my LinkedIn page as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'm really looking forward to this series. I've really enjoyed the conversations that Kemi and I had offline. So we're bringing it online to you for
Yes, I'm
DEI
really
moving to
excited.
practical solutions. Yes.
Correct, correct. And moving from just talking about it and living and practicing the inclusiveness we talk about.
Fantastic. Well, thanks to those of you who are able to join us today. See a couple friends out there who are saying hello. So thanks for checking in with us. In the meantime, reach out if you can. Otherwise, we will look forward to seeing you on August 15th.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a fantastic day.
You too.